Hello everybody, welcome to the Friday evening live tutorial here on the Beading Dreams stream. Hope everyone is having, 50 degrees. It is warmer than that here, but not as warm as it was yesterday, so it's actually a good warm.
Lori, are you sunbathing
today? For me, Heather probably is still dying of the heat strokes, but yes, spring is definitely sprung. We're still gonna get, I still say we're gonna get one more week of winter, like winter. That tends to be how it works, because just like we have faux fall here in Texas, we also have faux spring.
Definitely.
Yeah, so it's like cloud bathing. So it's like, hey, it's spring, it's spring, it's spring, it's spring. Guess what? Snow. Spring, 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 spring. So I'm betting that's what's gonna happen here. I could be wrong. I'm not betting any money. So, hi Corvus. I'm ready for sun. I'm not ready for 90 degrees. Is my problem. Like
We're really close to 90 degrees.
Yesterday was a trial. But I do love the sunshine.
It's also a tribulation.
I'm just not ready again for the 90 degrees. Like sun, fine, but 90 degrees, well, it only burns really if it's hot.
It doesn't have to be hot to burn me.
Well, I mean, it'll still burn your skin no matter the temperature, but it's pretty and shiny. Don't think I'm winning this argument. But anyway.
Not that way,
no. Okay, so, but
pretty and shiny. Hurts my eyes? Yeah.
Well, that's what sunglasses are for.
I can't afford sunglasses.
I can make you a veil. Okay. Would you like a full-on, like, morning veil?
Yes, I would love that. Thank you. That'll fix everything.
I mean,
in many ways.
Don't say yes unless you really want one, because you know I will make you one.
I do know that.
Mm-hmm.
Lori, I read that as we're supposed to get back to OnlyFans next Monday. But then the snow confused me, because that's
not what that says. Nope, not what that says.
I was confused by a lot of things.
So apparently I need to make a black veil for you and for Corvus.
Yes.
Okay, you know I will do it, people, so I'm just saying.
We're hoping.
Corvus is maybe attached to a tiara.
Ace is here for the OnlyFans.
Ace is here for the OnlyFans and the black veils. Ace, that's very niche of you.
It's very niche.
Okay, so tonight's project is Oval Gemstone Pendant, and this is a project that I have done before. It's actually one of my favorite projects, which is why I wanted to do it again. So we're going to take a piece of sheet metal, and we're going to make a setting for a stone using no heat. Okay, there are no torches involved in tonight's class. There are, however, I mean, I'm still waiting for your decorating OnlyFans, Ace. I'm just saying.
We've heard about it.
You have disappointed the lot of us because we've been waiting with bated breath for over a year.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sadness.
what are you doing with your time? You laying around eating bonbons, swimming in the pool, flirting with the ladies?
I know how he is.
I mean, so.
Bonbons are there.
I mean, I can make a veil for Ace too. Hi, Julie! Okay, so I'm taking some sheet metal. I'm going to make a setting for this piece of quartz. And like I said, this
veils for everyone.
It's snowing! What the what? What the what, Illinois?
I'll be right there!
Oh, Lord.
Yes, Corvus made mushrooms.
Corvus made peen shrooms, and Ace has still not launched the decorating OnlyFans. So, you know, not that it's a contest or anything, but might be a contest. We're just saying. So yeah, one of my favorite projects. I don't do it enough, which is why I put it on stream tonight. So what are you going to need to do this project? You're going to need a bunch of tools. We'll get to that in a minute. You're going to need some 24 gauge sheet metal. You're going to need a stone, a cut stone with a pavilion and everything. You're going to need a template. And when we planned for the thing. I don't know where my oval template went. It's gone. So I have an oval cabochon that I'm going to use as a template because that's all I have. And then I'm going to use my graphing ruler to help me with my prong placement. You're going to need something to mark on your metal with. Since I'm a commitment phobe, I use a Sharpie instead of a scribe. You are also going to need a drill, and it really doesn't matter super much what drill bit size you use. So I'm going to go with what's here in front of me, which it looks like is a 52, which is a 1/16 inch drill bit. If I can get it out of this cup. If I can't get it out of this cup, then we're all just going to go have a margarita and call it done. By the way, we are observing, so yesterday was National Margarita Day, and we missed it because we are terrible. So we are observing on Wednesday of next week.
We just are not observant. We're observant in our own time.
But anyway, well, I'm warning them that we are being observant next Wednesday with the tequila. So therefore...
Should we have a podcast after that much tequila?
Oh, I think it's going to be great to have a podcast after that much tequila. Are you kidding me? I just need to find something extremely salacious in the gemstone world, and we're going to have a good old time.
Heather drunkenly explains geology.
And then we might sleep here at the store for a while before going home. But anyway, okay, so it's size 52 drill bit. But it really doesn't matter. All you need is a drill bit that's big enough that you can get a jump ring through it, so you can attach this to a chain. So like I said, I just use what was in front of me. Additional tools, rotary tool or flex shaft, bench pin, jeweler's saw, and citrines. No, citrines are not part of the project tonight. But the jeweler's saw, and then... There were actually, I mean, we definitely could. There's a lot of phallic historical jewelry pieces. I don't know if you want us to start talking about all of that after we've had tequila, though. Might go like it's like if this is the edge, we might be like.
Do you think that these people who are still here after the decorating show would mind that so much?
I'm just saying. I'm trying to increase our audience.
In like the second week of podcasts.
Also, by the way, Corvus, March the 5th is our air date for the Texas Today spot. So, let me know what we need to do to have a couple of podcasts like dropped and set in place by then. But for now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make this project. So, in addition to your sheet metal, your stone, you need a template, ruler, bench pin, saw, drilling block, rotary tool or flex shaft drill bit, size of your choice. I'm using a 56. No, I'm using a 52. And if you want to hand finish your piece, then you're going to need some sandpaper. 320 is my preferred grit, and some fine steel wool, or you can take this and you can put it in the tumbler. I'm going to use a quartz tonight, so this is a stone that can go in the tumbler, so I'm actually going to tumble finish mine, so I don't need to worry about finishing off all the edges, but I will talk briefly about that when it's time. So we're going to start by taking our sheet metal and our marker and drawing the shape of our pendant. So I have my sheet metal here, and this is 24 gauge sheet copper. Like I said, I have completely mislaid my pendant, or not my pendant, my oval template. So I'm using this cabochon as an oval template. To draw my shape. And then I'm going to go ahead and use some metal shears, another tool I did not mention. I'm going to use some metal shears to cut out my shape. careful when you're cutting metal because it does make sharp, very stabby bits. Just ask Heather. She can tell you.
I sure can.
And then the other thing about cutting metal is when you're cutting metal, you don't want to snip, snip, snip to the end of your shears. What you want to do is you want to try to just go almost all the way to the end, but not completely. And then you're going to kind of curve them around since we're making an oval. So the only time I'm actually going to snip to the end of my shears is literally when I'm at the end of my cut, like so. And the reason for that is because going snip, 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 these remind me that stabby piece of metal is in Jane Benedum's box and I need to get it out before we give that to her. When you go snip, snip, snip with your shears, you make lots of sharp and pointy edges on your metal, which is not what you want. So now I'm going to grab my stone, I'm going to release it from its packaging. And I'm going to set that down there. So when we're doing this project, we want to make sure that we have enough of our metal around the outside of the stone to actually make our prongs. So I'm going to, steal this one a little bit closer to me, just so I can trace around the stone. Okay, so there's the rough shape of my stone. So now I'm going to go ahead and kind of fill that in. Make sure that it's centered. Which it definitely is not. So, looking for, I think, that. And coloring it in is just a good way for my brain to see like what we're actually doing here. So this is what's going to get cut out, and that looks pretty good. Okay, so that is what I'm going to cut out to be the seat for my stone. Now I'm also going to cut out my prongs, and so that's when my graphing ruler is going to come into play. So I'm just going to center that up in one of the sections, and I'm going to mark four markings for my prongs, and then these are going to be wider obviously than a single Sharpie line, so I'm just going to fill those in a little bit. Okay, so this is the basis for my setting right here. I'm going to put 2 holes, one here, I don't like that, and one here, and one here that I can attach it to a chain with. And what I want to make sure of is that even though I've colored all of this in here so that it looks like it's connected, it's not. It's definitely not connected. So let's see. One never has solvents and one is in need of them. This is unfortunate.
Indeed. Do
Okay.
you need to get you solvents?
No, I think I'm going to try and rely on my own brain power here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out this oval, and I'm going to cut it a little bit inside of the mark that I've made, and then I'm going to cut my prongs here, 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 so that they do not quite meet up. So what I want is I want a very narrow rim of metal in between my prong and the seat for my gemstone. Hello, Keiko. So
I'm also here but looking.
in order to You are, in fact. In order to do that cut in the middle, I do need to drill into this center portion. So that's going to be the first use of my drill bit that I put nowhere. Well, shoot. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. Okay, so I'm just going to load that drill bit into my flex shaft, or my Dremel in this case, actually. Heather's Dremel, if we're going to be technical about it. Alright, so I've got my drill bit in there. I'm just going to turn on my rotary tool. And I want to make sure that I drill somewhere in the inside of this area that I'm going to be cutting out. So there we go. I have made a hole. So now that's going to allow me to thread my saw blade in there and do my sawing. So I'm going to take my bench pin. So I use a clamp-on bench pin because I do not have a permanent jeweler's bench. So unfortunately I have to take my pin on and off my table depending on what I'm doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and clamp that pin onto my table as tight as I can. Which this table isn't, super great for this, so we're going to do the best that we can do. And then I'm going to take my saw. I've got a 2/0 saw blade, that's 2/0, loaded into my saw, and I'm going to release that from the top of my saw, thread it into the hole that I just made, like so. And then I'm going to put my saw blade in between these two parts of my frame on the top, and then I'm going to push against it. Push against, okay, you can't really see that because of my bench. Push against it. Back where it goes, go back in there. So then I'm compressing the saw frame. There you go. Ah! Of course it's not cooperating. Excuse please while I deal with the recalcitrant. I know, dent my sternum. It's not my preferred way to do it. I actually like to kind of bury my hand in my armpit and do it, but because of the way I have everything set up, denting the sternum is the way we're going tonight. We're going to compress our saw frame, and we're going to tighten this top nut here like so. And what we want is we want a nice tight saw blade. So now I'm going to take my saw frame with my piece of metal on it. I'm going to put it on my bench pin, and I'm going to saw around this inner oval, but I want to try and leave about 1 millimeter of my black line there. So I drew this around the outside of my stone, but I'm cutting a seed that's going to actually hold my stone, so I need to make it a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to put this in my V-slot. I'm going to hold it from both sides with my hands. And what? That's what it's called.
I know. But just, I'm primed thanks to our discussion earlier.
I can't see anything, so. So I'm just going to saw around this. Also, if anyone is wondering what does Allison want for her birthday, I really, really, really want a green lion saw frame. Just saying.
Okay, Allison's birthday is in July. We have time.
Okay, make sure you don't put your fingers in front of the blade when you're at the end of the cut, because the blade will jump. And
Hey, good vibes!
Good vibes! How are you? Sorry, I can't see anything because I don't have my glasses on.
That's okay.
Yay!
That's part of why I'm here, isn't it?
Well, you're not technically here. You're just hanging out.
Well,
Okay, so that's my oval, and I just want to double check and make sure that, yes, that is not too big, so my quartz will sit in there without falling through. Hello, son of a pitch. That's a great username. Just saying.
Excellent!
So welcome in. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to saw the prongs. And so when I'm doing the prongs, what I'm going to do is I'm going to saw essentially on either side of this black that I have drawn, and I'm going to stop when I get to the border of this part that I did not cut out. So that's going to be 8 cuts to make 4 prongs. So here we go. And I'm going to have to take my glasses off again. So I will resurface with comments in a minute. Resurface really isn't the right word, but it's what I got at the moment. Okay, so now I'm going to saw these prongs. So again, you want to hold it in your bench pin across the V-slot. You want to brace on both sides with your fingers. You're going to take your saw blade and you're just going to gently, you're going to reset it, dummy head. And don't forget when you're reseating it, needs to have tension, okay? It needs to go bing, not thunk. That was a thunk. Seriously, I'm telling you, green lion soft frame. I got to try one the other day, and well, not the other day, it was a couple weeks ago, but oh my god, they're amazing, man. They're pretty. And I've totally been not getting one because I felt guilty about getting a tool that was also pretty. Because, like, it shouldn't be pretty, it should be utilitarian. But the green lion soft frames are both. It's insane. Also, you may have noticed that I'm not using any lubrication on my saw blade. That's just a personal preference of mine. If it gets hard for me to saw, I will grab some lube and use it on my saw frame. But for now, I'm going to work on sawing out my prongs. So when you're doing this, you want to be careful not to go too far in. Like, that's where I gotta stop. Okay, and I'm sorry, I can't see if you can see anything because I don't have my glasses on. Alright, there we go. Okay. That's where I have to stop. If I go too far, I'm just going to cut right through everything, and then I'm not going to have a prong. I'm just going to have a cut, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it at that point. So.
Yes,
Ooh.
Julie, we're so excited to see you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, yay for it not being a clot vibes.
Yes.
That's good. Okay, so now I need to back this out, which is not actually as easy as it sounds, and then I'm going to do the other side. Again, know when to stop. This is like, you know, good life advice as well as good jewelry advice.
Amen to that.
So ideally, I don't have to worry about my fingers in this instance because I'm stopping before I reach the edge of my metal. So when you're sawing, and we've done this on other tutorials, but you want to make sure you're holding your saw blade vertical, that you're not leading with the top or the bottom of the saw blade, that it's just going straight up and down. And that one I did not get far enough. Also, something that I have become more okay with in the past few years that I didn't used to be is if you're dealing with excuse me, a really delicate edge or something, it's actually really okay to rest that on your bench pin and saw through the wood and the metal at the same time, because what the wood will do, it will support the metal. And I used to be very against that, but when you're doing delicate things, it actually is extremely no, sorry, I stuck. Okay. It's actually helpful when you're doing delicate things. So I'm going to do my last one. So this is what I'm talking about, like, because this is a very small piece that I'm trying to saw, so I can actually put it on my bench pin and saw into the wood and the metal so that I'll have that support that I need. Takes a little bit longer because you're sawing through two substances instead of one, but it really does work. Okay, so this is now that's my sawn setting. Now what I need to do is I need to file a seat for my stone. So I've cut this oval here, but what I want to do is I want to grab a half round file if I have one, which I'm sure I do. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to file this edge at an angle so it matches the angle of my stone. So it's always best to do that on your bench pin. You can brace that again once between the two sides and just no, well, first of all, you don't want to drop it on the floor like I just did. You don't typically want to move your file back and forth like that, but oof. In this particular instance, it's easier to do so than to pick it up and move it back. So what I do is I will just loosen up my pressure on the upstroke and then press harder on the downstroke. So I'm pressing harder on the downstroke and lighter on the upstroke. And that's the most efficient way to do this.
Well done.
Are you talking to me or the chat?
You. Good vibes, that's good news. Hold on. Okay. Awesome.
You probably can't see what I'm doing because of my head. Sorry.
No, we can.
Oh, that's good. So what I'm doing, just to be completely clear, is this right here. So you can see, hopefully, I've kind of filed an angle, and that, again, that is going to mirror the pavilion of our stone. I'm just going to finish that filing all the way around. So when you're doing this, it's all about the angle of your file. So you don't want it to go straight up and down. You need it to be add an angle, you know, about like so that you can file that seat that you want. Because if you do it straight up and down, you're just making another flat edge, which is not the goal here. Now, again, since I am going to tumble this, I'm not going to worry too much about my little sort of bird edges, because the tumbler is going to take care of that for me, because tools are amazing. Alright, so there's my seat that I have filed for my stone. And the other thing that the tumbler is going to take care of for me is the Sharpie, so I don't need to worry about taking that off. But I do want to, before I set my stone, I want to go ahead and I want to drill those 2 holes. So I still have that size 52 bit in my rotary tool. So I'm just going to go ahead and drill my 2 holes that I've already marked. Okay, slipped a little bit there, but I think the tumbler will take care of that for me as well. Okay, so this is my setting currently. Alright, it's all cut. I just need to put my stone in it, but what I'm going to do first, after I take my bench pin off of my table, is I'm just going to take a minute and a bench block and a rawhide mallet, and I'm just going to flatten this out, because it's gotten a little wonky with all the things that I've been doing. Oh, haha, my water's sitting on my bench block. So I'm just gonna take my block, and I'm just gonna pound this flat with my hammer, and I'm gonna do my very best not to pound my fingers at the same time. Now, if you were not going to tumble this, I did not Keiko. This was a gift. It's a simple bezel set ring, so I could have made it, but I didn't. It's a moss aquamarine, and I loves it. I will do another basic bezel set ring class soon. Thank you. So, if I were going to not tumble this, alright, what I would do is I would start out with some sandpaper top and bottom to just get rid of all the burrs and all the rough spots, and also around the edge, and that would be a 320 grit sandpaper, and then I would take like a triple or quadruple zero steel wool around everything as well, and I might do a little bit more refining with a file, because you can probably see that piece right there that's not supposed to be there. So I'm actually going to fix that right now. And that was just a sawing screw up, that little piece. Okay, so now I've got that nice and cleaned up. Ooh, well, salad's not bad. I put pork belly out to thaw this morning, so hopefully when I get home there will be thawed pork belly and I can make a chili glazed pork belly for dinner. I'm very excited about this, and I'm going to use my dad's sriracha to make it, and it is going to hurt so badly, and it's gonna feel so good. I'm so excited by this. Also, we've got some more people, so hi everybody. Again, this is our Friday evening tutorial. This is not a fire tutorial, but it is a tutorial that involves saws and hammers, and we are making a pendant. So we've made our setting and we've cut our prongs. So I'm going to take my chain nose and I'm just going to lift up those prongs from the plane that they're in so that we know where they are. So I've just lifted up 2. I'm going to lift up 2 more. I've never done needle felting. But it's so cool because you can make such cool critters and things with it. Okay, so that's my settings. Yes, good vibes. What is your question? I mean, I feel like stopping is par for the course at this point on the Beading Dream stream, but we definitely do not advocate anyone else stabbing themselves. Okay, so now I've got my quartz and it's sitting in my little seat. Heather does do tutorials. Heather sometimes does freeforms on Saturdays, and she did a basic stringing tutorial not that long ago because we had a scheduling crazy thing happen in the store. So yes, we do have Heather tutorials, just not quite as often as me tutorials. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to pull it up. And so that's going to come, you can see how that's going to come up and over my stone to hold it in. So I can do that with all 4. Also, you could you could lobby for a Heather tutorial. She will respond to the will of the masses. The elusive Heather.
I'm hearing myself being thrown right under a bus too.
Yep. That's what happens. You throw me under a bus, I throw you under a bus, you throw me under a bus. It's just like a road. It's like a road.
Come on.
It's like in the circus, remember the sphere of death with all the motorcyclists? It's like buses in the sphere of death, and you and I are just like bouncing around the middle.
Yes.
That's where I am
That's
right now. Oh, Corva says she is waiting patiently for a clay tutorial from you.
Yes.
So, alright, so we need to put Heather on the schedule sometime soon.
Uh-oh.
And, I'm gonna get off work in time to go to Trader Joe's. Oh, that's terrible. But also not, because that means I can have an egg sandwich tomorrow. It's gonna be awesome. Okay, so I've got my prongs that are just kind of bent up. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna refine that with my pliers, and I'm gonna need to do the old lady lean in here, because what I want is I want to make sure that the prongs are actually cupping and setting against my stone. Like, the goal here is that when I shake this, my stone should not be rattling. So I'm just gonna make sure that all of my, so what that usually means is it means taking my pliers in there and just kind of progressing that prong a little bit further over the stone.
I could also go to Trader Joe's, but I'm limited in my budget.
So am I, but I could do a shopping for both of us, a small shopping. Or I could just go home, which would be the smarter option, but I really want English muffins. Okay, and that is it. So I just brought my prongs up and over so that they're holding my stone. That one right there, nope, that one right there, definitely needs some squishing down. So you do want to make sure when you're doing your prongs that you don't have anything sticking up that is going to catch on clothing or anything like that. So now this is going, and again, this is not always the typical order for this. So for most stones, what I would do is I would have put this in the tumbler before I set the stone for about a day or so. And again, that's going to get rid of all my burrs, all my Sharpie, and all of my rough bits. If I was going to finish it by hand before I set the stone, I would have hit it with sandpaper front, back, and edges, and then fine steel wool front, back, and edges. But since this is a quartz stone, which is fairly durable, and I'm fairly confident that I set the prongs well enough, then I'm going to just take this whole thing, I'm going to chuck it in the tumbler, and we're going to see how it does. Now, one thing I do feel like it's important for me to note about this setting is you will notice when I hold it like this that the pavilion of the stone is sticking out the back side. So that can create issues while wearing of your pendant kind of tipping and rolling around. So this style of pendant is admirably suited for kind of being up right at the base of your neck, in the hollow of your throat. And then it's also, okay, so if I were to take this, instead of drilling holes here and here, drill a hole here and or here, and it makes a really great earring, because when it's an earring, it doesn't matter if the pavilion's sticking out. But it's just important to note that that is the pavilion of the stone sticking out of the back of your pendant, so you just need to be aware of that when you are wearing it, that you know, if it's not positioned in the right place, it is going to rock a bit. So that, ladies, gentlemen, and denizens of the internet, is our oval gemstone pendant. So thank you all so much for hanging out and tuning in on the Beading Dream stream for this Friday evening live tutorial. So tomorrow, and I will show the pendant post tumbling on Zoom tomorrow. So tomorrow night, thanks y'all. Tomorrow night we will not be on Facebook, we will not be on Twitch, we will not be on YouTube, we will be on Zoom. If you have Zoomed with us before, it is the same meeting credentials as we always use. You can go ahead and find those on our Discord in the Zoom meeting channel. If you are new to our Zoom and you don't want to join our Discord, you can also email us beadingdreamsdallas@gmail.com, and we can email those to you. But I will see everybody, I hope, every one of you, all y'all, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Central Time on Zoom. It's the only time I get to see your awesome faces. You guys are always staring at my face and I never get to see yours. So, what is that, React Corvus? My chat aggregator did not enjoy that one. So anyway, so Zoom tomorrow, and then we'll be back to our regular schedule next week with Tutorial Wednesday, Podcast Wednesday. It's Margarita Wednesday. So podcast is going to be fun and interesting, and I'm assuming they're the ones that actually like wreck your home and not like wreck your emotional home. But yay, demo! Demo is the first step of rebuilding, is what I meant to say. So, a potatoes screaming. See, okay, I've got Angie potatoes. Hold on, I need to click over to Twitch. Because my chat aggregator has, oh, I see that. Yeah, no, my chat aggregator just has Angie potatoes. They're just like, they're very judgy. They're like judgy auntie potatoes in my screen here. They're just like, you are a disappointment. You did not live up to your potential. You should have married a rich man. And your cooking is terrible. That's what the potatoes are saying in my screen. But yeah, when you click over to Twitch, they're just screaming, which I can totally relate to. So Zoom tomorrow, and then next week, Wednesday, tutorial podcast, Thursday sale, Friday tutorial, Saturday's freeform. So we will look forward to seeing you all on Zoom tomorrow, and if you're not going to make it to Zoom tomorrow, I will look forward to seeing you all back on this channel. The potatoes, right? Seriously, Julie. The potatoes are everyone's judgy relatives. So, everyone have a great night, and I will see you all back. I'll see you all on Zoom tomorrow and back on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream next week, Wednesday at 6 p.m. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you later. Bye!